Hello everybody, I am Ram Brissot. I have shaved so you might not recognise me. I'm here to talk about poi, well fire poi and normal poi. I started off on normal poi, which is like the little LED balls that you get that are really hard and plasticky. I don't have any handy because I stopped using them quite a while ago. I also have now changed from a normal poi to a pod poi, which is like I'll show you in 1 second. I can show you what it looks like. The pod poi, it looks like this. This is what a pod poi looks like. Normally there is an LED light inside of here, which you have on a string. I do have a set of these kicking around, which I will show you later on in the performance. But at the moment it is a little too windy tonight to do the performance, so I will probably do it tomorrow or whenever the rain and the wind has stopped, which could be a while. I hope I get this video on before the Wild North deadline. But yeah, this is the outside of a pod poi. They're soft, so if you hit yourself, they're not too bad. The little hard plastic balls, they're really hard. I suggest if you really want to start out, just get like a pair of old socks and some like really soft juggling balls, and yeah, they're a good way to start, like just performing with them. I also use, let's see, for my fire poi, this sort of thing, like the good chain. Make sure that it's not going to fly off. You can see how thick this ring is here. You want to make sure the ring's nice and thick and it's not going to come off like what happened at Confuzzled, where they had a little key ring and it pulled off and went flying into the bushes. As you can see, these have been used a bit and there's little bits hanging off here. You can see here, for example, this is Kevlar, like what you find in a bulletproof vest. There is little bits hanging off. So what you need to do for that is you can trim them, like get some scissors or a knife or anything you like, and then you just trim them off, you see, and if there's a little bit at the bottom, you can trim around. Make sure you sweep all this up and put it in. Don't go too far, you just want to make sure there's no hanging bits, so if you're spinning, you don't have bits flying off and hitting people. That would be a very bad performance. If you're spinning this and you have a bit like that, and it's burning, it can fly off and burn someone, so you always want to make sure they're nice and trimmed down. Make sure there's no extra bits hanging off. You can see like as that looks pretty decent to me. Also check your screws here. You can see there is some screws holding this all together. I'll show you. There's a screw there and there's 2 screws here and here. Make sure they're stable enough. You can pull them there and make sure it's not going to come apart as you're spinning. So another thing you want to check is to make sure that you know your props. That's not going anywhere. That's not going to hit someone. That's not going to fly off. That is solid. So is the chain. These cost me, actually I got these free from someone that gave me them for free because they weren't going to fire spin, but yep. So that's what you do with them. This one, this is the other one. It also needs a bit of a trim. So you can see here there's a little bit of fluff, so you just trim it off. You basically just go around and give them like a little haircut like you would do in a barber shop, making sure there's nothing left. Just like I said before, once over, checking all your, yeah, they're not going to come loose. Check the screws, make sure the screws are holding them together. Make sure nothing's going to come loose as you're performing, because you do not want a fire. So the fuel I use, my hands are all chocolatey now. The fuel I use is this stuff. This is not the right thing, this is deionized wire, but it's a container like this. It is paraffin, I use paraffin. This is, I thought this was a container. This is what it looks like, it's in a container like this. Obviously I'm not going to bring it out. But 1 second, I'll go get the actual fuel I used. Deionized for it? That's not what I used, that's for the car. I must have picked it. I picked this up thinking this is what I used, but it's not. Bear with me a sec, I will pause the video, I will go actually get my fuel. So deionized water is for the car, you don't use that. This is what I use. It's in a bit of a bigger container. It's paraffin. It stinks, it puts off a lot of smoke. There is different fuels you can use which don't smoke so much, but this really does smoke. You can get it at a camping store. There's also stuff like this which can be mixed, but you have to have specific burning fluid, which I don't have. I can't get it in the UK. You need to have, I think it's like 100% alcohol to use this stuff and mix it. So you pour that into a litre of alcohol and mix it, and it gives you green fire. And I've also got one here which will give you red fire, but I can't use them. I was going to use them at last Wild North, but it needs to be mixed with the right stuff, and it's also poisonous. So don't drink it. Don't leave it where any kids can drink it. Keep it locked away or put it in a safe area. It's not good. I bought this off the Firepoi website, so you can get blue, green, and red. That's the red one. You need to mix this stuff. If I'm trying to remember the name of the alcohol, it's some sort of alcohol stuff that is very difficult to get in the UK, and you can only order in a lot of big amounts. So what I'm going to do now is pause the video, take this paraffin outside because it stinks. I keep it locked away in the shed. When you are using your paraffin, you never leave this big container like in the scene of where you're performing. What you would do is you would pour this big container into something like this, which can be sealed. It's just a paint can. So you would pour it into something like this, pour it in, make sure there's a nice seal there. You do not want to have this there because that is a fire hazard. So any hazards lying about like this, you would move out the way. And once you've dipped your poi, you put the lid sealed back on top. Make sure you've closed it. Make sure there's no air escaping, and then you would pour this once it's all emptied, or once you've done your performance, back in here using a funnel. So you use a funnel to put that back in to keep it safe. You would never ever leave it in here because this will rust eventually, and the tin will corrode. And then if you pour that into that and it's got a hole or something that's corroding, you can have a fire and it's a hazard. You also want to have a fire extinguisher on the side, a spotter if you're doing it like a parent, a family member, a friend, anybody who you can have by your side while you're spotting. But you want to have someone who can spot you when you are doing this. It's a fire extinguisher, fire blanket, stuff like that on standby in case you get some fluid on you and you light yourself on fire, which can happen. It can, like, there's always dangers with fire poi. It's not a simple procedure by any means. So I keep these in here for now, and I keep them sealed away because they are still flammable and they're poisonous, so I lock them away. Obviously they haven't been used, so it's okay to keep them in here, but I always keep them sealed up and locked away in a cupboard in my shed where I store all my stuff safely, because you do not want to leave it lying around where people can get their hands on it. So this is what I use. It's used for burners, as you can see, like barbecue burners and stuff outdoors. You know, like you get campsites. It really does smell. It's not a pleasant smell, but it does the job. You can get other kinds of fluids. There's loads of different things. I've seen people spinning charcoal and stuff like that. It's pretty cool, but charcoal spin is very, very dangerous. You need to be fully wrapped up and have eye protection and everything for charcoal. So I'm going to put this away and wash my hands, and I will be right back and explain to you about fire spinning, which is fire staff. It's pretty much the same as fire poi, just check all your apparatus, but 1 second. Yeah, so I haven't washed my hands yet because I'm going to be showing you my fire staff next, which is this. This is what's called a fire staff. I'm just knocking over half the kitchen. It's kind of like the fire poi, but on the end is all like butt rivets here. So like I say, you'll just check, make sure it's not going to slip off, make sure it's not loose, make sure there's no loose ends, same on the other end. And you can burn and spin with this. This is quite safe because you can do basic moves, or you can have someone hold this and walk around with it, and you don't have to spin it. But you have to be careful just with anything fire related. Always make sure you've got a spotter, fire extinguisher on hand. I always have a water bucket on hand as well, just in case. You never know, something might go wrong. You want that safety. I can do this and I can do poi. I like to spin digital poi more. I would love to spin the poi that have pictures on them, but they cost like upwards of £1,000. You can get, they're called pixel poi, and you spin them and it has pictures, so you can have like, you can have a picture of you inside like your persona and spin it and it'll show you your persona. But that's like £1,500 to £1,000 for one of those. If you've got that kind of money, go for it, but I sure as heck don't. I do love poi and I do love circus stuff. I have started getting into contact juggling, which I'm not very good at, but I try as well. It's fun stuff as long as you're safe and play safe and have a safe space. You need to make sure your poi area or flow area or whatever you want to call it is safe. Like outside my background is not the best place to spin because I have a washing line and I have had it before when I was spinning. So it's a little bit dangerous. You should always take down washing lines, etc., etc., before you start performing. Make sure you've got the area safe, there's enough surrounding. Like ideally you want, if anything that's going to go wrong, you want to have a space where it can, if your boy can fly off, or you can drop your staff and walk away if you're on fire or you need assistance. You need that space. It's better to have more space rather than less space. But when I spin, I tend to spin my back garden. It's not ideal. It's not really the safest space, but it's all I got because it's not really a good idea to go spinning out in public spaces like on a playing field or something, unless you're going to get into trouble. So it's better to do it on private land and have permission, obviously. Yeah, so basically I haven't really got a lot left to say. I will perform when there's no wind or rain, and I will try and show you me doing some fire spinning and stuff. Hopefully my mum's back will be better because she's been in a lot of pain and she can be my spotter because COVID-19, horrible time. Everybody stay safe out there, and I will spin for you later, and hopefully it'll be all good. Take care of yourselves and stay safe. Bye. I'm going to leave that deionized water in because that's funny. Take care, bye. Distance man looking over the bay, waiting everything he's done. Oh, there stood an empty man still looking for love. He waits for seasons as they change, as his face grows without faith. He's still hopeful, still he'll find someone to hold him close. There stands a hollow mill, watching seasons all change. Animals come and go, passing by each day, and even they seem happier than him. He's going bitter now, full of regrets of things he never tried. There's a home man, the seasons passing by.
in the sound.